using play in the context of how do you make this more fun and enjoyable
for everybody.
for everybody.
Like, can you imagine? Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think too. Like, wouldn't it be cool if every single leader, manager, general manager, whatever, in any organization really encouraged their team members, their employees to show up to work like that? Like, just. Hey, Lauren, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Lynette. Great to see you again. Exciting to carry on with our series of podcasts on advancing culture.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what, for our listeners, it may be a few weeks into the new year or a couple months into the new year, but we're recording this fresh into the new year. So
right. New year, whatever you're listening to.
Yeah,
this.
Exactly. Okay, so Lauren, so just to kind of revamp the process, we go through a how might we for our listeners and help them as sort of a bit of a design challenge approach. And then we go into how they might solve it. Wouldn't it be cool if, and then some key benefits and some takeaways. So this time we're going to talk a little bit about how might we help our listeners interpret what the meaning of play is at work. So you just finished teaching an executive MBA on culture. I want you to get into that a little bit. But in essence, really, play is when you're just really super motivated at work to do your work, to do the work itself. And so we want to talk a little bit today about kind of what we can do there. So why don't you share the example, Lauren, that you challenged your executive MBA class to for this exact problem?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. And, maybe just as context, Lynette, there's a lot of new research that's emerging around people like Neil Doshi and Lindsay McGregor and Prime to Perform. They really talk about the importance of play, but I think there's some confusion out there that maybe it has a frivolous kind of notion attached to it, or it all involves literally kind of a more literal example of that. And sometimes it does. Sometimes it literally involves actually kind of more what historically we'd interpret a play. But I think you bring more practicality to it by saying it's just really enjoying the hell out of your work, right?
Yeah, I've always have to unpack things. So,
and I think that's the way to make it more accessible to people.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, though, is that we can be more intentional about it. The example I used, Lynette, was wouldn't it be cool if someone had a job, for example, like a receptionist at a restaurant, and the restaurant was enormously busy, and on particular Friday and Saturday nights, when there were, long waits, maybe an hour wait to get a table. How do you bring play? How do you make that an enjoyable experience for someone in that particular role? And in this MBA class that I had, I challenged people to do that, to look through the eyes of team members first, to give a customer obsessed response, but through the eyes of kind of play and in terms of making that an enjoyable experience. And by just being intentional about it, these folks came up with tremendous ideas around how to do it, right? It was everything from, why don't we create that experience in the lobby of that restaurant in the reception area as an experience to remember, as rather than, think about it through what tools could you give those receptionists to make it great? Like the chef coming out and giving free samples to the appetizers, or, having a board where kids could scribe, or people could write things on, but create a community in that reception area by giving and asking and providing receptionists with the ability to have fun in that role, as opposed to putting on can you imagine the suit of armor?
Yeah, exactly. And then going to work every day going to work on a Friday or Saturday night, that the lineup is going to be an hour long, 2 hours long. And I've never, this girl or guy has never been given the opportunity to really contribute their ideas to how we could make this better. So, and they probably never even thought about it, to be honest. They just go, they follow the process that they're trained to do, and off they go. So I guess what you're saying is, you took 20 minutes in this executive MBA class, you presented this as a problem and said, okay, now solve it. And some of the ideas in 20 minutes were so powerful that they would have given this whole experience to the customer way beyond anything that they've ever experienced before, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. So it's a combination of this of notion of really being people first in advance of the customer experience, and bringing the using play in the context of how do you make this more fun and enjoyable
For everybody.
for everybody.
Like,
And
can
if
you
you,
imagine? Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think too. Like, wouldn't it be cool if every single leader, manager, general manager, whatever, in any organization really encouraged their team members, their employees to show up to work like that? Like, just if
I
something's
know.
not right, challenge the status quo and do something about it, and give them that environment that they feel like they can trust and feel comfortable to give that sort of level of contribution. So,
You know, I saw a video, for example, and you know, I don't want to trivialize this or in some ways use this as somehow kind of this is, but some people could argue that say that, you know, this applies to certain kind of jobs. But I saw people who had a job of picking up garbage, turning it out into a fun experience. You know, these guys, they put music on their truck. They kind of,
between.
you know, they had fun, and people literally look forward sometime to seeing these garbage men come and putting their garbage out. You know, they exchange stuff. You know, they was a joke of the day or something, and there was a merriment to the, you know, and I don't want to make it frivolous.
But I don't think you are. I think, honestly, I think just to build on that, like, what is the benefit of encouraging people to just really be able to feel motivated at work? And I think that, honestly, the benefit, the outcome is going to be that people are going to contribute to at levels that they've never contributed before. And that's what you're looking for. You want people to show up to work with enthusiasm and passion, and now they're having fun as well. So they've got purpose going on. They've got you know, this play going on, and they're feeling excited, and no one's sort of shutting down their ideas. And so now all of a sudden I've got this environment that I can show up to work, and I can contribute again at levels that are beyond anything that I've been able to do in my other jobs or even in before. So Lauren,
Yeah.
what are the 3 takeaways or a couple takeaways that our listeners can get out of our talk today?
I think one, if you're a leader, to make sure that you're being intentional about asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a leader, you design jobs. You do by the nature of what you ask people to do. So as part of that, give yourself, with intention, ask yourself, how do I encourage people to bring the play and the fun and enjoyment? And how might we ask that question, you know, Lynette, that we're always asking, how might we do that?
That's right.
And secondly, if you're in a role, then you have the right to say to yourself and to say, and hopefully you get support, is how might I make this much more fun? How can this be
Exactly.
a much more enjoyable experience? And I think the third thing is sometimes you do have to stop and actually play. Like sometimes there is a literal interpretation to it. I think you literally have to do that fun event that, you know, but sometimes we kind of put it off in the back burner, because sometimes you just have to stop and just literally in the most purest sense play.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, you know, that's another step toward advancing culture and to making places great places to work.
Absolutely. As always, Lauren, lovely to talk with you. I will catch you on our next vlog post.
All right. See you the next time around. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.